Hi everybody, welcome to week 3 of Pinto's preview. NDSU's upcoming game against Prairie View A&M happens this Saturday at the Fargo Dome, kickoff 3 o'clock. Of course, you can hear that right here on the mighty 790 KFGO. My 3 points this week are going to be pretty short and pretty just concise because Prairie View A&M, in my opinion, is not going to be that much of a difficult opponent to face if you're a team like NDSU or really any team in the Missouri Valley. Prairie View A&M, which comes out of the Western Division of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, 0-3 on the year. They got blown out in one game by Lamar. Their defense is pretty awful, so NDSU's offense is going to have, in my opinion, a field day. But first, let's get to the 3 points that we're going to look for NDSU to take on against Prairie View A&M. The first point I'd like to make is moving forward without junior strong safety Colton Hegel. As many of you know, Colton Hegel injured his knee against Colorado State 2 weeks ago and will be lost for the season. Now, his replacement, Bobby Ullman, there won't be much difference there as far as size is concerned. The biggest difference we're going to see is in the speed and the reaction to the plays between Bobby Ullman and Colton Hegel. Now, Ullman, he's a good player, great special teams guy, head full of steam, he's a demon. However, how will he do against the run game? And I've said this before, I'll say it again, I think Colton Hegel is a huge loss. We might not notice it now, but moving forward throughout the season, specifically in the next 3 weeks, when you have Youngstown State, Northern Iowa, and Indiana State coming in those 3 weeks, not in that particular order, however, but those 3 teams will be the opponents for NDSU in the next 3 weeks. Those 3 teams past Prairie View A&M are very good teams that could knock off NDSU, specifically UNI in the UNI Dome the next week after Prairie View A&M. How is Bobby Ullman going to transition into playing those kind of teams? Prairie View A&M is a running team. Everybody wants to talk about how good they are at the pass, but they run the ball nearly 60% of the time on offense, and they're averaging over 200 yards a game offensively. They're a good offensive running team. Their defense is awful. We all know that. They give up a ton of points. I don't think there's been a game this year where they have given up under 30 points to a team. So it's all a matter of how this defense does against the run. I think in this game we're not going to notice Bobby Ullman, or at least the difference between Colton Hegel and Bobby Ullman, but moving forward, you're going to see a significant difference. Point 2 I'd like to make is, how long do the starters play? Guys like Sam Majuri, Brock Jensen, Marcus Williams, if he even does play, which I don't think he will, but the point stands. Do they play the whole game? No. Do they play the entire first half? Maybe. Depends on the score, depends on how well NDSU is executing their plays. Teams coming off bye week seem to play fresher, they seem to play faster, they seem to play more crisper, and they're better at executing their plays offensively and defensively. If this is the case for NDSU in this game against Prairie View A&M, don't expect to see any of these starters in past the third quarter. I would be very surprised to even see Brock Jensen start the second half of the game. You can't risk injury moving forward, and like I said before, UNI next week. After that, it's Youngstown State, followed by Indiana State. The 3 biggest games on NDSU's schedule come right after this Prairie View A&M game. You cannot risk injury in what is going to end up being a meaningless game on the schedule that NDSU is going to win big. The third point I want to make is, can NDSU look forward past this game? Now, the coaches, the players, they're going to say all the right things. We take Prairie View A&M very seriously. They're a very competitive opponent. That's not the case. And don't believe that either, nor should you as a fan. You know exactly where their mindset is once they get up 3 touchdowns, which they will in this game. It's UNI the next week. It's Youngstown State after that. It's Indiana State after that. This is a huge game in terms of coming out healthy because the next 3 weeks are pivotal when it comes to your place in the Missouri Valley Conference and if you want to make the playoffs. NDSU needs to come out of this game strong, confident, but again, healthy. So in my mind, I think they are looking forward. I think they're going to be very prepared for a road game against a UNI team that could be fighting for their playoff lives in that instance. So NDSU, in my mind, is absolutely looking forward at UNI, and they should, because that's going to be a very tough game that they're going to need to win. My final prediction of this game, 56-6, NDSU wins big. Why? Prairie View A&M on the offensive side of the ball, yeah, they'll be able to move it on the ground, but NDSU's front four is going to put them in a lot of passing situations, and that's where you're going to see the likes of a Brendan Pierre or an Andre Martin Jr. make plays. Why not Marcus Williams? I don't think he's going to play in this game. I think that's just all a front by NDSU to say, well, he might play. He's listed as a starter. You don't risk further serious injury with an All-American in a game that you're going to win without him. So he's going to sit in this game. No worries there. Defensively, Prairie View A&M can't stop anything. So NDSU is going to be able to pile up a lot of points rather quickly. And again, like I said, this game is going to be over fast. 56-6. NDSU is going to come away with the win. They're going to be 3-0, and they'll look forward to Cedar Falls, Iowa, where they'll take on UNI next week. For Pinto's Previews, I'm Daniel Gunderson for KFGO.com.